So think back for a second to the last time you were in a store and dealt with a completely, utterly demotivated retail worker. Did you actually end up buying what you went in for? Did you just kind of grab the bare minimum and leave quickly? How did it impact your whole experience? Chances are their total lack of energy directly influenced your decision to purchase, or maybe it even pushed you to just walk right out the door. But on the flip side, a truly motivated employee, they can completely transform a totally routine shopping trip into this fantastic, memorable experience that actually prompts you to buy more and build real trust with the brand. But how do we actually create that kind of motivation? Because let me tell you, it doesn't happen by accident.
All right, let's dive right into today's explainer. We're breaking down The Psychology of Workplace Motivation, a Manager's Playbook. We are going to take some pretty abstract academic theories of human behavior and completely transform them into a highly practical toolkit. And we'll be looking at this specifically through the lens of the fast-paced, incredibly physically demanding retail industry. Look, whether you're managing a massive big-box store or a tiny boutique, deeply understanding the psychology of your team is without a doubt your ultimate competitive advantage.
Here's our quick roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll cover defining workplace motivation. Then, we'll hit needs and growth theories, dive into factors, assumptions, and traits, outline the essentials for motivation, and finally wrap up with the manager's vital role.
Okay, Section 1. Defining workplace motivation. Before we can build a highly motivated team, we absolutely have to establish what it is we're trying to create.
What's really fascinating here is the definition itself. Motivation isn't just some fluffy corporate buzzword. It's actually defined as an inner state that energizes, activates, or moves and directs behavior towards goals. It is literally the fuel in the tank. And in an environment like retail, this is absolutely critical. Floor staff are on their feet all day long. They're dealing with intense physical and mental pressures. Motivation acts as a kind of shield against that negativity. It literally changes their brain chemistry to think positively, which cuts down on anxiety. It gives them the willpower and that raw physical stamina they need to not just survive a shift, but to actively engage with customers and crush their daily tasks.
And if you're sitting there wondering, okay, but what's the actual tangible ROI of a motivated team? Well, just look at this number, 33%. According to multiple studies, including some really great research by Dr. Gail Matthews, highly motivated people are 33% more likely to achieve their goals than those who aren't. 33%! They don't just set random targets, they pick goals that actually move the needle and then they execute. A motivated employee is self-driven, highly productive, and they just get a whole lot more done in way less time. So, we know motivation is powerful stuff, but where does it actually come from? Let's move to Section 2. Needs and growth theories, where we unpack our academic tools.
We gotta start with the absolute classic, right? Abraham Maslow's need hierarchy pyramid. Maslow basically said that human needs exist on a hierarchy, and we have to satisfy our lower order needs before the higher order ones even turn on. At the very bottom, we have physiological needs, food, water, shelter. Once you have those, you look for safety and security, things like job security and a safe environment. Moving up from there, we crave social needs, so friendship, a sense of belonging. Above that is esteem, which is status, recognition, and self-confidence. And finally, at the very peak of the pyramid is self-actualization, that intense drive to reach our absolute full potential. The really big takeaway for managers here? A hungry, financially terrified employee literally cannot be motivated by the promise of an Employee of the Month plaque. You have to secure that base first.
And this is where it gets super cool, because this theory isn't just for managing staff. It is literally a cheat code for sales. Picture a customer walking into a clothing store. If a savvy salesperson figures out that the customer is just buying a basic shirt to gift to someone on their staff, that customer is operating at a lower, purely functional need level. So introductory priced brands like NetPlay make total sense. But if that same customer is shopping for themselves to, say, boost their confidence before a massive presentation, bam, they are operating at the esteem level. The smart salesperson instantly pivots and offers premium brands like Van Heusen or Louis Philippe. Really understanding this hierarchy just unlocks the sale.
Now, building off Maslow, let's talk about Clayton Alderfer's ERG theory. ERG theory takes Maslow's 5 levels and condenses them down into 3 highly practical categories: existence, relatedness, and growth. But the really crucial difference here, and this is a big one, is that ERG theory says people can actually be motivated by more than one need at the exact same time. You don't just have to climb a strict ladder step by step. If we put these two frameworks side by side, it makes total sense. Existence aligns perfectly with Maslow's physiological and safety needs. These are the things satisfied by material incentives. Relatedness maps right onto social needs and lower-level esteem, which is all driven by personal relationships and the social vibe at work. And growth, that covers upper-level esteem and self-actualization. So translate that into a retail setting. An employee is probably looking for a solid paycheck for existence, a really great team dynamic for relatedness, and a clear path to a promotion for growth. And they want all of that simultaneously.
Moving right along to Section 3, Factors, Assumptions, and Traits. Let's shift gears and look at the contrasting lenses through which leaders actually view their teams.
Douglas McGregor came up with two radically different ways managers think about people, Theory X and Theory Y. Now, a Theory X manager honestly believes that people fundamentally dislike work, they're basically lazy, they'll avoid responsibility at all costs, and so they have to be aggressively directed, micromanaged, or even threatened with punishment just to get anything done. It is a highly autocratic style. On the flip side, a Theory Y manager assumes that work is just as natural to humans as play or rest. They believe that if you get someone committed to a goal, they will exercise intense self-direction and self-control. Theory Y managers treat their workers like responsible adults and give them the freedom to thrive. Think about it for a second. Your foundational assumption about human nature is going to dictate every single management decision you make.
Next up, we have Frederick Hertzberg's motivation hygiene theory, which is also known as the two-factor theory. And this one is a real game changer. The core idea here is that the things that make us miserable at work are actually not the opposite of the things that motivate us. Hertzberg split workplace factors into two distinct buckets. First, you have hygiene factors. This is your salary, job security, company policies, working conditions. Here's the secret. Having great hygiene factors does not motivate people. It just stops them from being angry and quitting. If you want to actually generate drive and massive output, you need true motivational factors. That means giving them a chance to achieve something difficult, providing real recognition, handing over responsibility, and showing them a very clear path for personal growth.
To wrap up our theoretical tools, let's look at David McClelland's theory of needs, using something called the thematic aptitude test. McClelland found three primary drivers in people: the need for power, the need for achievement, and the need for affiliation. Folks driven by affiliation, they just want to be liked and keep everyone getting along. People driven by power want to influence how others behave. But the ones with a high need for achievement, they're the ones who absolutely love a tough challenge and want to constantly compete against really high standards. Over the last couple of decades in the retail industry, visionary leaders like B.S. Nagesh and Kishore Biani have vividly shown these high achievement traits. Figuring out which of your staff have these specific traits is how you identify exactly who your future leaders are going to be.
All right, Section 4, Essentials for Motivation. We've got the theories down, but how do we actually build this on the floor?
Look, a highly motivated workforce doesn't just magically happen. It requires well-engineered systems. First off, performance has to be acknowledged constantly. Use weekly store staff meetings to publicly recognize the people who are crushing it. Second, you absolutely must have fair, instant grievance handling. Your standard operating procedures, or SOPs, need to be crystal clear so everyone knows exactly how a problem will be fixed. Third, performance appraisals have to be cohesive and totally transparent. And finally, especially in an industry like retail that demands long, grueling hours, flexible shift working isn't just a perk, it's an absolute necessity to balance labor laws and prevent complete human burnout.
We've built the system. Now let's talk about the person actually running it. Welcome to our final section, Section 5, the manager's vital role.
A manager's job really starts before day one. You literally have to hire self-motivated people from the get-go. But once they're in the door, it is entirely your responsibility to create an environment where they can actually thrive. The playbook is pretty straightforward. You need to be having regular individual one-on-one meetings with every single employee, so you can intimately understand their unique strengths. You have to actively ask for their feedback, and not just to fix broken processes, but to show them profound respect. Give them as much control over their own work as you possibly can. And I love this. Here's an incredibly innovative practice happening in retail right now. Some organizations are actually involving an employee's parents in their rewards and recognition programs. I mean, just imagine the massive surge of esteem and pride that generates for the employee.
But when it's all said and done, it comes back to this fantastic core mantra from the source text: motivate yourself to motivate your employees. Management is, at its core, a top-down transfer of energy. If you walk out onto the floor looking exhausted, cynical, and completely demotivated, guess what? Your staff will instantly mirror that exact same energy. You have to embody the drive that you want to see in them.
Well, we've covered a huge amount of ground today, haven't we? From Maslow's fundamental pyramid to McGregor's theories X and Y, all the way down to the nitty-gritty daily realities of flexible shifts and managerial one-on-ones. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Based on everything we've explored today, which assumptions are currently driving your own leadership style? Honestly, are you operating as a Theory X manager or a Theory Y manager? And more importantly, what is one single change you can make tomorrow morning to truly unlock the potential of your team? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating topic with me on today's Explainer. Keep learning and keep leading.